there you hear the rumble and roar at 5:26 p.m. Eastern Time. SpaceX lifted off their Falcon Heavy with a GOES-U satellite aboard, and it was a beauty. Facing east, it was clear skies as the rocket sailed up into space. Behind it, though, there were storms that stayed at bay off in the inland part of Florida. And looking down from the rocket, it was just a beautiful sight to see that rocket get off the ground and into space. People were excited and thrilled as the rocket roared, and we watched it go up, and that was the beginning of what would become a 3.5-hour journey that has led us now to over 4 hours. And so here we are back waiting for this big moment. And you know, this satellite, once it is deployed, has a lot of features that's going to help a lot of people. And I want to ask you, first of all, after launch, we followed the mission, like we said, for 2 burns, and then we entered that coast phase. We're still in the coast phase now, but we're going to follow that 3rd burn and then spacecraft separation. Let's take another look now at this satellite, and then let's talk a little bit about some of the features and some of the things it can do. It's the 4th and the last of the GOES-R series of satellites operated by NOAA. GOES-U is about the size of a small school bus, and it weighs over 6,000 pounds. It has a 5-panel solar array that powers the satellite, its instruments, computers, data processors, sensors, and telecommunications equipment. GOES-U has 7 advanced instruments that can analyze weather hazards and environmental conditions, including hurricanes, lightning, space weather, the magnetosphere, and solar flares, and then it can relay that data back to Earth. Alec, NASA, and NOAA, of course, we've been launching satellites now, weather satellites, for nearly 50 years as a partnership. How does this particular satellite benefit the public?
Yeah, it's really the real-time 24/7 monitoring. We need the observations from the satellite to issue life-saving warnings for the protection of life and property, to track severe storms, track hurricanes, detect wildfires.
And new for this satellite, it's got a coronagraph on it, and now you're also going to be helping with solar weather.
Yeah, and this will be the first ever operational coronagraph, again, to get those warnings for space weather to industry users and to the public.
Where is the coronagraph? Because we got a model right here.
Yep, it is it's pointed on the solar platform, and so it is coming off.
Oh, right here.
Yep.
There it is. See? So how does that work? Like, because the solar array needs to be pointed at the sun, the coronagraph also needs to always be pointed at the sun.
That's right. And so it actually sees with white light. And so the coronagraph, we also think it might be good, for example, at identifying comets as they pass close to the sun.
Mm. Now, there are 2 GOES satellites up there right now. Describe what they do, and then GOES-U, its role in displacing one of them.
Yeah, we have 2 operational positions. Goes east, it's over the equator, over the Atlantic Ocean, covers most of the eastern U.S., and goes west is over the equator, over the Pacific Ocean, covering most of the western U.S. And together they cover the entire western hemisphere from the west coast of Africa all the way down to New Zealand, the North Pole to the South Pole.
And we really need to have all the way to the coast of Africa, because one of the key things that this is a sentinel for is essentially, hurricanes. I mean, these things that come off the coast of Africa and impact us severely need to be tracked as early as you can possibly do it.
Mm-hmm. And that's really the legacy of the GOES series. We had an awesome science session with the GOES team on Sunday, and there's a great quote from one of the former directors of the National Hurricane Center calling GOES satellite imagery the single greatest advancement for hurricane forecasting.
How about that? And you are advancing GOES into the next generation of weather satellites. As you mentioned, this is the last in a series. Tell me a little bit about what we can expect from GeoXO, which is going to be the one that succeeds this.
Oh, that's right. So our next generation, it's the first one will launch in 2032, and so that'll take us the 2030s all the way to 2050. It's incredible that they're already planning for this today. It'll have similar instruments, lightning mapper, imager, and there'll be some new instruments like an ocean color instrument to better understand the health of our ocean, and an atmospheric sounder, and so that will help us improve nowcasting of severe storms and to get profiles inside the storms as they form. And we will also have an atmospheric composition instrument, and that will help us understand air quality and the climate impacts associated with climate change.
And so your thoughts now, before we toss it to our commentators, about getting ready to watch this satellite come off the rocket.
Oh, to see it on its own in space, I can't wait. We got to visit GOES-U in the clean room at Lockheed Martin in Colorado a couple years ago, and knowing it was there and then on the rocket and now ready to go off on its own in orbit, I can't believe it.
All right, well, we've got a third burn to start us off first, and then we'll get to that separation. So this is the moment we've all been waiting for. Let's bring in NASA commentators Megan Cruz and Mick Woltman to walk us through the mission's last burn and spacecraft separation.
Hey guys, yeah, we're back again here from the Mission Director Center at Hangar AE at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, and we want to direct you guys' attention to the bottom three milestones left in the progress bar on the bottom of your screen there. We see SES-3, SECO-3, and GOES-U deploy. Those first two are referring to the last and final burn of the MVAC engine on the second stage of the Heavy.
Yeah, it's coming up very shortly here. It'll be a very short burn, about 30 seconds. This will be the final burn to get GOES-U into the proper orbit and getting ready for deployment as we get ready for stage ignition. There we see the MVAC engine starting up for this burn. It's, like I said, it's going to be about a 30-second burn, just maneuvering the second stage and GOES-U into position to get ready for GOES-U's deployment. And so far this mission, everything has looked great today. Megan?
Yeah, it's great to see the engine reignited again for this final burn. We've been watching this engine with the GOES-U satellite now coasting for about 4 hours, so it's nice to see it again lit up and reigniting for this final 30-something or so burn.
And there we see shutdown of the MVAC engine, getting ready for payload deployment, and we heard the call out for nominal insertion of orbit, getting ready for the GOES-U satellite to be deployed in about 8 minutes from now for the team to do that. So I can tell you that the spacecraft is working their procedures. They have powered up their inertial systems and getting things aligned and ready to go to get ready to separate from the second stage and deploy in orbit and start their work, as we see a picture there of GOES-U on the front of stage 2.
Yeah, and the GOES-U spacecraft now about 20,000 miles above the Earth, exactly where the team wanted it to be.
Yeah, exactly. Good trajectory today. As I said earlier, the data from the team, everything's looking good. Falcon Heavy performed very well. Second stage through this third burn has performed nominally, and everything looks good. Good insertion orbit, and we are just sitting waiting to see GOES-U start its science missions.
So again, the final dot that's left on our progress bar on the bottom of the screen is GOES-U deploying, GOES-U being separated from the Falcon Heavy's second stage, and we're expecting that in about 7 minutes now, so T plus 4 hours, 30 minutes, and 2 seconds. So again, watching the clock there on the top corner of your screen, waiting for this final milestone that we're covering on this live broadcast today. And one really cool thing, Mick, is we're going to continue to get these amazing live views from the spacecraft and capturing live views specifically of separation. This is going to be a first for the GOES mission.
Yeah, these views we've had through this whole coast period have just been incredible. To see second stage and GOES-U out in space, as you said, about 20,000 miles out. It's just been awesome sitting here watching these and being a part of this mission and enjoying it. As Alex said, this is the moment that we've been waiting for, and it's going to be very exciting to see it happen in real time on the video. That is going to be a first for GOES-U, and I know several members of this team.
Yeah. And GOES-U, will continue nearly 50 years of NOAA and NASA partnering together to keep a watchful eye on the Earth. And now with this new compact coronagraph, this new instrument specifically on GOES-U, different from the previous GOES-R satellites in this series, that's a really exciting ability